When talking about ancient Egypt, pyramids are one of the first things that come to mind. These magnificent structures built thousands of years ago continue to amaze people from all over the world. The largest of these structures, the Pyramid of Khufu, also known as the Great Pyramid of Giza, is the only one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world that still stands, a testament to how advanced ancient Egypt was for their time. We actually still don't fully know how they managed to build such a large pyramid and everything that lies inside it. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built in around 2550 BCE to serve as the tomb of the pharaoh Khufu. Pyramids in ancient Egypt were built to serve as tombs to the pharaohs and help them reach the afterlife. Another obvious evidence that the purpose of the pyramid was to serve as a tomb is that it is built in the middle of a necropolis. In fact, the area where the pyramid is located is also known as the Giza Necropolis, which contains a number of graves. The ancient Egyptians placed a lot of importance on the afterlife and had a number of rituals aimed at preparing an individual to reach it. And as pharaoh, Khufu had the resources and the means to build for himself a magnificent tomb aimed at ensuring his eternal life. The Great Pyramid is the biggest and most well-known pyramid of ancient Egypt, but it isn't the oldest. In fact, Egypt's first pyramid was a step pyramid. Egyptians then evolved their techniques to be able to build the true pyramids that most people associate with Egypt today. Even though we can see the evolution of their pyramids, and we have some documents describing the logistics of their construction, including how they transported the stones, the ancient Egyptians didn't leave any records of how they were actually built. But even though it remains a mystery, archaeologists do have some theories of how they did it. The Great Pyramid has around 2.3 million blocks of stone that had to be cut to fit together, and the Egyptians managed to do it with an incredible precision and efficiency. With over 20,000 workers, it took them between 20 to 30 years to complete the Great Pyramid, which was the tallest man-made structure anyone had ever built in the world at that time. Even with today's modern technologies, it would be a demanding project, making their achievement even more impressive. The idea that the pyramids were built by slaves is a myth created by the ancient Greek historian Herodotus, who visited Egypt thousands of years after the pyramids were built. In fact, we know from Egyptian records that the builders were skilled workers who got paid and lived nearby the building site in a temporary city. This included masons, quarry workers, tool makers, and cooks. Limestone blocks used to build the pyramid were quarried near the building site. The white limestone used on the outside came from Tura, a quarry 10 kilometers south of Giza, and the granite came from Aswan, over 900 kilometers south of Giza. Both were transported across the Nile. There's evidence of an ancient canal from the Nile until the Giza Plateau. This would have facilitated bringing these blocks of stone from faraway quarries to near the building site. We actually know how the Egyptians then transported the stone blocks or statues across the sand. They would tie what was being transported to wooden sleds, then water the sand in front of the sled while multiple workers pulled the sleds. Wetting the sand made its consistency harder, so it was easier for the sled to be dragged. The part that still puzzles Egyptologists to this day is how the pyramid was actually built. Theories include some sort of ramp that was used to transport the stones up, but there is no universally accepted theory of what this ramp looked like. One theory is that they used a straight ramp, and this would work well until the pyramid reached a certain height. As it got higher, the ramp would have to be considerably steep, making it very difficult to carry the stone blocks that weighed over 2 tons each. Otherwise, the ramp would have to be extremely long, requiring a considerable amount of resources, perhaps even more than the pyramid itself. So Egyptologists believe that the Egyptians built sideways ramps that would go around the pyramid upwards as they built it. Some believe that the ramp would be on the outside, but there is also a theory that the ramp would be in the inside, reusing the material used to create the initial straight ramp. Still, these are theories that are yet to be proven, and until one is, the exact way that the pyramids were built remains one of the biggest mysteries surrounding ancient Egypt. However, we do know that the pyramids were covered in white limestone, which was smooth and polished, so in sunny days the pyramid would reflect the sunlight, dazzling viewers. At the very top, it had a capstone that was probably made of limestone or granite and may or may not have been covered in gold. But the capstone has long been lost, so we cannot be sure of how it looked. And unfortunately, most of the limestone was removed from the pyramid during the Middle Ages to be used in other buildings in Cairo. Like most Egyptian pyramids, the inside consists mostly of stones, with a few chambers inside. Khufu's pyramid had already been sacked by tomb robbers, so the only artifact that is still found in one of the chambers is Khufu's empty sarcophagus. The walls also don't have any paintings or inscriptions, because this practice would only appear later on in Egypt. Inside the Great Pyramids there are mainly 3 chambers: the subterranean chamber, which was never completed, the Queen's Chamber, which even though it's called the Queen's Chamber, it wasn't used as the burial place of a queen. In fact, historians still are uncertain of the exact purpose of this chamber. Then a grand gallery leads to the King's Chamber, which is completely made of granite. Of the King's Chamber, where the pharaoh was buried, only part of his sarcophagus remains. Both the Queen's and the King's chambers have chevrons built above them to prevent that the structure would collapse into the chambers, demonstrating the advanced engineering techniques the ancient Egyptians had developed. In 2015, a project called Scan Pyramids, led by the Cairo University, was launched to better understand the structure of the pyramids, using modern technology without damaging them. In particular, a technique called muon tomography. Muons are subatomic particles that are created when cosmic rays collide with particles in the Earth's atmosphere, and they are constantly traveling through our planet. But when they pass through surfaces, such as stones, they eventually stop. So scientists placed devices in the pyramids that would count how many muons were passing through the structure to determine if there are any empty spaces inside the pyramid. When examining the Pyramid of Giza, scientists discovered the existence of a corridor behind the original entrance of the pyramid and another chamber somewhere above the Grand Gallery, which was named Scan Pyramid's Big Void. The chamber is at least 30 meters long and its purpose is still unknown. Researchers are still conducting tests to try to find more about these hidden spaces inside the pyramid. Even though the pyramids are thousands of years old, there's still much to learn about them, and hopefully modern technology will help us better understand these impressive structures. If you like this video, consider sharing it and subscribing for more content. You can also watch our last video if you haven't seen it already. and I'll see you in the next one.